Let's look at the Gerber MP 600. Now, this is a knifeless multi-tool. This has no knife. Why is that a good thing? Well, you can carry it in most countries legally. That includes most, pretty much every European country probably. And you can certainly legally carry this in the UK. Now, it does still lock. So you've still got the security of the lock, but you don't have that legal issue with the knife. Now, that's a great thing, because you've still got a full-sized, multi-tool with a lot of capabilities, but you don't have the legal crap of having a knife. You don't have to explain why you got it. You can take it almost anywhere, and you're probably not likely to get this confiscated. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's compare it to some other models. In fact, let's do that first. Let's compare it to some other well-known multi-tools. So as I said, it is a full-size multi-tool. So here it is compared to a Leatherman Wave. It's bigger than a Wave. And this is with it closed, by the way. Now, unfortunately, because of the lack of space here where I'm filming, I can't really do that flicky thing, because this is one of those multi-tools that you can flick out. But again, here's it compared to the Leatherman Wave. It is certainly a bit lighter than the Wave, and here it is compared to the Victorinox Swiss Champ. Unfortunately, we cannot carry the Wave legally in this country because it has a locking blade. That said, if you're curious as to how to make it non-locking, because that's possible, I've already done a video of that, well, have a look through my channel. You'll see how to make that non-locking so you can legally carry it. Anyway, back to the MP600. So obviously that's the main point of this, is you can legally carry it in most countries, including the UK. Now, they do a version of this that does have a knife. In fact, I think it's got two knives, but as I said, it still locks. So let's start off with the pliers. Basically your standard multi-tool pliers. Now, one thing that bothers me about multi-tool pliers is they try to call it three different things. They call it regular pliers, needle nose pliers, and wire cutters. I wish they wouldn't do that. It's just pliers at the end of the day. Maybe pliers and wire cutters, but please stop saying that's two different kind of pliers. I suppose technically it is, but to me that's just one of those things that kind of annoys me. Anyway, now I like the design of these wire cutters actually, because as you can see we've got a triangular shape. That's because you can actually undo these. Gerber provides a tool to unscrew that and flip them around. So you can change them 3 times. They can be rotated, so you don't have to completely replace them when they get dulled out. And obviously you could buy new ones. I'm pretty sure I saw them on Amazon. Speaking of Amazon, that's where I bought this particular model, at the price of £87 sterling. Well, I mean, that's an okay price, I think. I mean, most multi-tools cost around that. Certainly most Leathermans cost around that. It's just a shame that you can't have it with a knife. I mean, well, take that for what it's worth. Anyway, like most other multi-tools, it does have a metric and imperial ruler. That's one thing I really do love about multi-tools, is the fact that they put so many different tools on them. I mean, even a ruler on the handle, to me that's just brilliant. Anyway, let's have a look at the tool set. Here, and again, all the tools lock, by the way. Here we have the can opener, which actually I think looks very similar to the can opener on a Swiss Army knife. Very similar indeed, except the one on the Swiss Army knife has a Phillips screwdriver. Move along here. A 3D Phillips screwdriver, opposed to a sort of more 2D Phillips screwdriver like we just saw in the Swiss Army knife there. So we've got a full-sized screwdriver. And the final tool, and this is one of the things I love about this, is it has a replaceable saw. So similar idea to the Leatherman Surge. You can take this saw blade out by lifting this piece up, and it's kind of difficult to do from behind the camera. But this is a U-shank jigsaw blade. Give me a little second here. A bit awkward to do in front of the camera. Here we are. So there's your U-shank jigsaw blade. Now these are made by a company called Remgrit. Now these are kind of expensive. To buy a 3-pack of these, it's about £15. Now, it's better that the police confiscate this, because this could possibly be considered a blade. I mean, with enough force, I suppose you could potentially stab someone with it. I'd suggest that this is more likely to snap than actually cause anyone serious injury. But if you're travelling with this, I think it might be worth noting. I mean, the chances of you tearing the skin with this is next to none. In fact, this to me looks like some sort of abrasive material glued onto the blade. Probably some sort of man-made diamond or something. Apparently these can cut almost anything. They're supposed to be able to cut wood and metal, and I'd imagine tile as well. As I said, this is a U-shank jigsaw blade, not a T-shank. Different fitting. Unfortunately, even with this being a jigsaw blade, these will be hard to find, because if you notice, this one's got a hole in it. Most U-shank jigsaw blades I've seen do not have a hole in it, so bear that in mind. So they're more of a specialised jigsaw blade, I'd suggest. Now here we've got a metal file, double-sided of course, like most multi-tools. By the way, some people actually try to suggest that this could be considered a blade. On the video I did about making the Leatherman wave legal to carry, some people have suggested that you should also modify the file to be non-locking, because it could be considered a blade. I don't know how true that is, possibly just, I suppose it depends on the police officer at the time. We have a cap lifter with a screwdriver. Now this is the one thing that I think might be a bit problematic, is we've got a pair of scissors and it does lock. Now what's a pair of scissors? Two blades. It's essentially two blades riveted together, so that might be a legal issue. So keep that in mind, but supposedly this is supposed to be very travel friendly. I'm pretty sure I've heard some YouTubers saying you can actually take this on a plane. I'm not so sure about that, but possibly. I think we've got two tools left, and it's just another flat blade screwdriver and a smaller flat bladed screwdriver. Now, if you're like me, you're going to feel lost if you don't have a knife. So personally, I would not carry this without a knife. So what would be a good knife to pair up with this? Well, I've got you covered. I've got some suggestions that I think would go well with this. So let's start off with this, since it's a similar colour. This is the Boker Plus XS. This is a UK legal carry folding knife. It is a slip joint. The blade is less than 10 inches long, and it's non-locking, and it's a very secure knife. It is rather threatening looking though, so I wouldn't want to use this in a public place where people could see you. So that might be worthy to pair these up with. Similarly, CRKT Long Ma, another UK legal, no sorry, it's a CRK Journeyer. It's a Long Ma design. Yeah, so this is a ball joint, not a slip joint, because there's no spring. That might be a good option. A Victorinox Farmer, because, you know, obviously you've got the blade. Now this multi-tool does not have an awl. To me, that is one of the important tools. This has an awl, and also has a dedicated wood saw. Or if you want to go a little lighter, a Victorinox Spartan. You've got two blades there. You've also got the awl with the corkscrew, where you can put a mini eyeglass screwdriver, and obviously you've got your toothpick and tweezers. So that pretty much concludes my video. Thank you for watching.